What if I told you there was a plan that was so strong and damaging to your mind that it made no contact look weak? No interaction, on the other hand, still leaves room for hope. This plan makes you wait and watch, wondering if they'll ever come back, but this makes them wish they had never left in the first place. Not because you went away, but because you became someone who is so strong and invincible that they have to question everything. This isn't a game. This isn't about sitting by your phone like a sad person in love, about having so much power over yourself that you won't even notice what you've lost by the time you realize it. Don't care anymore. This is the story of a man whose heart was broken. Just like you, he thought no touch would be enough until he realized something much stronger. When this video's over, you'll have a tool so powerful that they won't just miss you, they'll wish they never left. So if you want to stop losing and start winning, click the like button, join the channel, turn on notifications, and leave a message. Below, I'm in charge of my own life. Now let's start. Number 1. The fall. A man broken by love. He didn't see it coming. At one point, she was his whole world. He thought they were dating because of the late-night talks, inside jokes, and deep chats. Something that couldn't be broken, and then she was gone without a word. No, sorry, just a cold, distant goodbye that cut him like a knife in the chest. He stood there looking at his phone and reading her last message again, as if he could make sense of everything. But it didn't. It never does. The next few days were a pain in every room. Every song made him think of her. The bed felt too big, and the phone felt too. In his mind, he could still hear her laugh and picture how she used to look at him like he was the only man in the world. She had never seen him before, but now she looked at him like he wasn't even there. It hurt the most that she moved on so quickly. No longer existed at all. She quickly erased him, as if he were just a phase or name she'd forget in a few months. But he was still there. He was torn between anger and sadness because he couldn't do the same. Heartbreak. He wanted to hate her and want her back so badly that he replayed every moment and talk in search of. He made a mistake when he was too open, which is when everything went wrong. He tortured himself with unanswerable questions and lost sleep over a past he could never get over because he loved himself too little. Change. That's when the advice started coming in. Don't talk to anyone. So he did what she asked. He deleted her number and stopped calling her. Every time he wanted to send her a message while checking her social media, he had to force himself not to. A message, but he stopped himself. He told himself that he was being strong and that this was the best way to show her what she had lost. But he felt like he was still locked up because he couldn't stop thinking about her. He checked his phone every day to see if there was a message about her, and it never came. He looked through old pictures and wondered if she had ever really cared. He told himself he was moving on. He was really just waiting for her to come back, though, to finally understand what she had done wrong one day. But that day never came. As soon as it hit him, no touch wasn't enough. It was a patch, not a cure, because he would be unhappy until she came back, and he would need her approval to feel good. He wasn't whole again. He was still weak, and she didn't like that about him. She wouldn't respect him when he was hurt, and she wouldn't respect him for waiting around for a return either. He took part in a game he had already lost, and then things changed. Subscribe to this video and leave a message below. This is part 2 of I Master My Emotions, the Truth About No. Contact, why it's not enough. No contact is the approach that everyone tells you to use. When someone ghosts or replaces you, they say to just ignore her, when she sees what she's lost. At first, it seems like the best idea. A silent war, a battle of waiting, cutting her off and then leaving. While you wait, you imagine the day she regrets it as soon as she checks her phone and sees that you're not there. You tell yourself that she'll start about you and missing you. She'll be stalking your social media to feel as much as you do. But here's the harsh truth. Most of the time, she doesn't work the way you think it would, but only if most guys don't really move on with the problem. Instead, they use no contact as a game. They are not changing, they are not improving, they are just waiting. Waiting for that text message, call, or time when she finally gets it. But waiting is still weak because she still owns you as long as you're hoping she'll come back. Women can tell when you're waiting, can tell when a man is just acting tough when he's really just trying to be strong. Rather than doing it, They can tell when a man still cares about them. That's why no touch by itself often doesn't work, even in silence. If she feels like you're still looking, waiting, and hoping, she'll know she still has power over you, and what she doesn't miss you after that. She just goes on. She might check in with you after a few weeks to see if you're still interested. You're still there just to feel like you belong, and when she sees that you are, you still respond. That you still care, she walks away feeling even better about her choice. You were just a game, she says. Most guys break when they get that little bit of attention. They get that short-lived rush of adrenaline and think it's a second chance. They think this is it. She's coming back. They show their cards, reply too quickly, and get too involved in the game because they are too excited. Eagerly, they admit that they were never really separate, and that's when she felt it. She knows she made the right choice by leaving, so what's the next step if not talking to them isn't enough? She's turning into a man she can never reach again, and it's not just through silence. Not only by waiting, but also by showing complete and utter lack of interest. In reality, she won't feel the loss until she sees that you're no longer affected. Don't act like you're not, but actually gone, and when she reaches out, because she will at some point. I don't even need to like this video, subscribe, and leave a comment below. 1. I picked myself. 3. The power of beyond no contact. At first, he thought that no contact was the best thing to do. He knew that if he didn't say anything for long enough, she'd miss him and call him when she realized what. But as time went on, he came to the harsh conclusion that not talking to her wasn't enough, because he was still hoping and waiting inside. She was always on his mind, and as long as he cared, he was weak. Then he made up his mind. He would no longer wait, hope, or act like it was time for something. Stronger than no touch, something she didn't expect, nothing she didn't care about. Just ignoring her and taking her out of the equation meant that her ideas and feelings no longer mattered. He didn't just stop talking to her, he erased her. Her feelings and guilt didn't matter. He wasn't interested in her social media, he wasn't wondering who she was with, and he wasn't leaving the door open in case she came. I chose to come back because, let's face it, not talking to anyone is the same as being indifferent. It's still strong, and silence still makes people feel like you care. But people get scared and question everything when someone they used to love acts like they don't care. Now they see you as just another person they could walk by without giving you a second thought, when they really feel the weight of loss, and that's what happened. At first she didn't notice because she thought he was still with her, was waiting in quiet, hoping she'd come back like every other guy. But then everything changed. Something changed. His absence wasn't just short-term, it was real. His energy was different. He wasn't just avoiding being there. He told her he was too old for her, and that's when the shift happened. One day she checked to see the same man she left behind on social media, but she saw someone else, saw a person he didn't recognize. He wasn't complaining, sharing sad quotes, or playing video games. Games to get her attention. He was living a happy, healthy life and looking better. She was stronger, more sure of herself, and worst of all, she was no longer in his story. That's when I started to feel bad about what I did. Why isn't he broken? Why isn't he trying to get me back? Did I make a mistake? Suddenly she wasn't sure, because if a guy can move on without her, if he can totally separate himself, it makes people question their own worth. She thought he would always be there so she could come back whenever she want, but now she wasn't so sure. And that's what indifference is all about. It's stronger than absence and quiet because people don't want what they don't want to deal with things they can't control when they reach this level of detachment. You do not have to tell them you are leaving, just stop being reachable, like in this video. Please subscribe and leave a message below. Number 4, the dark side of when she walked away, she thought she had won. That's why they always come back. She thought he'd think that he'd be so sad that he'd be waiting for the day she got bored, and chose to look back at the past. This is what most guys do. They beg and plead. As if love is something that can be bargained, they try to show how valuable they are. But he did something different, not only from her life, but also from her mind. At first, she didn't notice. She might have been too busy loving her newfound freedom and looking for new things to do. Even when she thought about other guys, he was still there, hidden in the background, quiet pain. But as time went on, something didn't feel right. He wasn't around to listen to her stories or wait like every other guy would have, and that's when the panic started. People don't value what they can get, which is an expected trait of humans. They value what they think they might lose forever, and she knew he had moved on when she saw that he wasn't just ignoring her. Something deep inside her made her question bewilderment and interest in the same man. She was no longer known to the people who used to love her and would do anything for her. This is more beautiful than anything else, than a man who can't be touched. This is the bad side of attraction. The harsh truth about human nature is that people are pulled to things they can't control and want things that aren't easy to get. When you really leave their world, you leave a hole that they can't fill. That's why they always come back. Not because they miss you, but because they suddenly see how valuable you are. But they don't like the thought that you don't need them anymore. So the game changes. More often, she checks his social media to see if there are signs that he still cares. Maybe she gives him a small test, feels sorry for you, gives you a text message, or tries to act like nothing happened. She's not really trying to get back together with him. It's just a power move to see if she can still affect him. She wins if he responds. She goes crazy if he ignores her. This is where most men fail. People think she's learning something about herself when she's really just curious. What she lost, but as soon as they show interest again, she stops being afraid of losing them and walks away. The circle starts all over again, but this time it's different for him because he understands. The prize is now him. He doesn't have to show his worth. He is it. When she finally reaches out, she hopes to find the man she left behind. Find someone else, someone colder, who doesn't see her as his future, but as a lesson from his past. And that's when she really feels bad about what she did. Not because she lost him, but because he doesn't care like this video. Follow me and leave a message below. I'm the 5th prize winner, the Stoic. Chacarera, turning pain into power. As the old song would have said, he would have seen any sign of interest as a sign of hope. He would have looked over her every move and text as a sign of hope. Every little thing they did, they were desperately trying to figure out if she still cared. But that man doesn't exist anymore because he's not just moving on this time. He changed not to get her back or to impress her, but for himself. Pain is a strong thing that holds most guys back and traps them in a cycle of regret, self-doubt, and pain never ends. But for a small group of people who know how to be patient, it changes into something else. Fuel for a weapon, a way to start over. The difference between the weak and the strong people don't like pain. Strong people use it to attack weak people. What he did was grow. Instead of running away from the pain, he accepted it, sat with it, and let it happen. Every loss turned into a lesson, and every bit of pain made him stronger. As a drive to stop spending time thinking about the past and start, he focused all of his attention on making one thing unbreakable, and he began with his mind. Emotional control became important to him, so he studied Stoicism and trained himself to get control of his feelings instead of letting them rule him. He learned the ancient philosophy that had shaped him. For hundreds of years, warriors and emperors have used the art of detachment to focus only on what he could control and how to accept truth without fighting it. He was angry before, but now he was calm, unshaken, and invincible. Then his body showed up. A warrior's mind needs a warrior's body, so he took it. He put all the energy he used to waste on being hurt into becoming more self-disciplined. The gym became his home. Warfield, each rep, set, and drop of sweat was a quiet promise to his body changed. And he told himself, I will never be weak again. People noticed that the way he walked into a room had changed. But what was most important was that he was no longer there. He didn't need permission, recognition, or anything else because he didn't need it. Everything was pulled to him. People who had ignored him before were now interested in him. The same woman who thought she could have replaced him. She looked on from afar, wondering what she had lost. This is what real power is all about. Not wanting revenge or approval, but becoming so useful that the past doesn't matter, which he didn't do. Just move on. He leveled up so much higher than her that she was no longer important in his journey. In the end, the greatest victory isn't making them wish they hadn't lost you, it's becoming someone they could never like again. Please like, share, and comment on this video. Pain makes me stronger. Number 6. The silent dominance that wins without words. As if the old song would have felt the need to, he would have put up mysterious quotes to show her and everyone else that he was doing better without her. The man he has become, he doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. He showed off his growth and hoped she would see it. His success speaks for itself. This is the art of silent dominance. There are no justifications or announcements, only action. Other people waste time trying to make their ex notice them. He focuses on one thing that will make his life better. Knows a strong but simple truth. The person who doesn't say much is the most dangerous in a room. Does the most good. He doesn't stop her, delete old photos out of anger, or play silly games with her. He just takes away his energy to get a response. And that's what bothers her the most. Not that he isn't there, but that it seems like he was never there in the first place. At first, she brushes it off, saying there are no more feelings to feel. She keeps telling herself that he's just acting like he's doing it to get her attention. But as time goes on, she starts to wonder why. Why isn't he reading my stories? Doesn't he care? Did I get him wrong? The anger, the resentment, and the desperate efforts to get her attention, but not getting any. This is where the mind games start. When someone calls or texts, there is silence. Someone who used to love you stops recognizing you all of a sudden, which makes you think. She starts remembering the way he treated her, the way he made her feel, and the fact that he was always there for her until he wasn't. As her interest grows, she rolls his name up in talk she scrolls. She looks through his social media for signs that he still cares, but what she finds is worse than she thought. He's not just living, he's thriving. He looks better, seems happier, and is in worse shape than before. Of all the times he hasn't looked back, this is the one time he feels regret, realizing that he was becoming the man she always wanted while she was busy focusing on other things. You can win without words, which is why it's the most powerful victory. It doesn't come with words, not from trying to persuade her of anything, but from making it clear that he knows the secret energy is stronger than words, so he doesn't have to write about how much the way he acts, the way he looks, and even his success show that he's changed. Who talks for him, and when the time comes for her to reach out and try to see the man she used to know, she'll find that he's long gone, because the best way to show someone they're wrong is to make them understand they were right. We're never even a part of your success. If you like this video, please subscribe and feel free to leave a comment below. I'll let my deeds speak for themselves. An air of mystery. At first he thought that disappearing completely was the answer. She would miss him and feel bad about everything if he just disappeared. But then he realized there's something even more mysterious going on, because of the total absence that makes it easy to explain, that she thought he was still angry and hurt, and avoiding her because he was weak. But the man who stays in the mind is the one who is there but can't be read. He didn't stop her or go on. In an effort to get attention, he became unreliable. Where he wasn't before. An open book, he was now a puzzle she couldn't figure out. No sad lines, no hints. Words that don't try to stand out in a clear way. They're just picky and meant presence. Just a look here and there. Long enough to get her interested, but never enough to fully understand what he was thinking. So don't go away. That's the art of the social shift. You change without being seen. You move quietly, but you leave clues in the form of a picture that tells a short story that shows you're doing better, but doesn't say anything else and doesn't have any notes. Screaming for attention. No need for extraneous answers. Just presence and confidence. Power, and that makes her angry, because women get angry when men change them. Naturally, I wonder why he's seeing someone else, and if he's grown up enough to date me. Was he always this strong? I never noticed that she looks at his social media more often, waiting for a sign. She wants something to prove how she feels, but all she gets is a man who doesn't show any emotion or anger. Is clearly doing well. The more she tries to figure him out, the more frustrated she gets. She thought she had him figured out. Found out that she knew exactly how he felt. He knew that she would always care more about him, But now he feels like strangers are fun because they are mysterious. But here's the truth. What draws people to something is not what they understand, but what they don't understand. They don't fully understand, and the moment you become unexpected, they can't read you. The TR power makes them think about you all the time, making you untouchable. If you become mysterious, it's not because you want her back. You do it because you've grown up. The need to explain yourself because now it's your life and not hers, access to it not by force but by choice, which is what makes her feel bad. Everything you like about this video, please subscribe and leave a message below. Question 8. What is the final test? Whenever she reaches out, it always happens. She might not reach out today or tomorrow, but she will eventually. It could be a simple, "Hey, how are you?" or a lighthearted response to a post that she might bring up a memory from the past to see if it still matters. Just to remember you that she's still there, like a picture or reading a story. Do not mistake this for an accident. This is a test that most guys fail the moment she says it. Makes them feel reminder, heart beats fast, and their mind floods with memories, and all of a sudden they forget everything they've been telling themselves about this. My chance, she finally saw what she had lost, and soon enough, they start to react too quickly and eagerly. They try to act calm, but the excitement is too much for them. Bleeds through, and she knows right away that she still has control over them. This man is different. He's put himself together for too long, and now it's falling apart. At the first sign of notice, he knows what's really going on. She's not coming back because she's going back to see if he's still available and to see how he responds. Gives her the approval she wants, she wins, and just like before, so he doesn't fall for the trap. He doesn't ignore her because she is small. He ignores her because she is no longer Rel, and that breaks her heart more than anything else because she was looking forward to some kind of response that would show he's still hurt. But instead, he doesn't answer. And when he does, it's short, polite, but far away. She asks how he's been without giving any information or leaving any room for more. Conversation, and there's no sign that he's been waiting for this moment. The mood is different. She can feel it. Where there was desire before, there is now only apathy, because she's the one for the first time, which makes her freak out. I'm not sure if he still thinks about me or if he's seeing someone else. Was I wrong? Leave her alone. She thought she was in charge, but now she feels rejected. She feels helpless the more she tries to figure him out. This is the final test, and only those who pass it, they never go back because they know that once they've mastered themselves and no longer need recognition, they are whole. There's something strong about the past that the present doesn't have. Leave a note below. I'm in control 9 for the last shift. There comes a time in every man's life when he realizes he's free, not because she broke him, but because he's free. He finally reached out, not because he won the breakup, but because she's no longer important to him. Doesn't make him feel anything. Her memory doesn't bother him, and he no longer has neither he nor she needs to prove anything to him. He can't be broken. This is the last shift. Whenever he wakes up is the time when the pain stops being a burden and turns into a faraway lesson. He wakes up and realizes that he doesn't care if she thinks about him or is sad about losing him. If she sees his success because he's too busy living, and that's what the discovery is what really breaks her, not the silence or the lack of interest. She thought she could come back one day because the door would always be open, but she has no power over him now. He would always have a piece of her in his heart, but when she finally looks back, she sees nothing. The man she used to know, but now he's grown so much that she can't reach him. Most people fail at this point because they think going on is about getting rid of someone, to make a point about payback, but where is real power? When he looks for approval, he finds it when he no longer needs it. He doesn't move on to make her angry. He doesn't grow to make her feel bad. He becomes unbreakable. That's who he was always meant to be, and now that he's reached this point, the past doesn't mean anything anymore after something amazing happens. So he doesn't look back because there's nothing worth looking at. He doesn't ask her if she misses him because it doesn't matter to him now that he's in a different world. Is in charge of his own life. This is what real strength looks like. Not chasing is not showing. just existing in a way that makes people respect you without saying anything. In a word, he's no longer a broken-hearted victim. He's a man who is a force of nature, who is better than ever after rising from the ashes. And the best part of the story no longer about her. It never was. Like, discuss and subscribe. I'll never look back. Number 10. The New World, a life on his terms. It's the last step, the moment when he fully enters the life he's always wanted, meant for him to live a life that wasn't shaped by sadness. Scarred by the past, he is no longer waiting for someone to see how valuable he is. He is himself. He no longer cares about what might have been. He knows it himself. She doesn't have to tell him who she's with or that she feels bad about it. She can look at his picture all the time, eager to catch a glimpse of the man she used to know because he was no longer with her. What's there now is something bigger. A man who made himself from the ground up. A man who has learned to control his feelings, sharpened his mind, and made him stronger. In his spirit, a man who walks into every room with quiet confidence because he knows that he no longer needs anything from anyone. The approval he used to seek is no longer important to him. He no longer needs the attention he used to seek. He doesn't need to be seen, is felt. And this is the part she didn't see coming. She thought he would always make room for her and keep the door open. Open just a bit. She thought she might come back one day and find him exactly where she left him. But when she did, looks back, he's gone. Not physically, not in the small. I'll block you. That's the real power move. He's gone because he outgrew her. Not out of anger or spite, but because he doesn't care about the past, he doesn't look back. Tell him he doesn't need closure because achieving success is itself closure. The man he's become and the life he's built are the last chapters, not a conversation, not an answer, just getting so out of reach that the past doesn't mean anything anymore. And that's what hurts her more than the fact that he moved on. Not because he's doing better, but because she doesn't exist in his life anymore. Just a lesson he learned the hard way, and while she's stuck in the past and doubting everything he is, living a life she'll never be a part of again. Because in the end, the strongest man isn't the one who gets her back. It's the one who gets so strong that he doesn't even think about it. Follow this video, like it, and leave a message below. I am unstoppable. It's the end of the trip for everyone else, but it's just the start for you. The moment you stop waiting, the moment you totally take control, because this was never about her. It wasn't about making her feel bad. It was about becoming a man who doesn't need to look back. If you truly believe that you are valuable, you won't need to look for approval. You are the prize. The worries, heartbreak, and overthinking from the past lose all of their meaning, leaving behind a man who can't be touched and who is in charge of his own fate. If you've made it this far, you're already ahead of most guys who never make it this far. Stay stuck in the cycle of hope and waiting, but you've already done what you need to do. You took the first step toward becoming something better. Now it's time to finish what you started and build yourself up. Feelings should keep moving forward because once you become unshakable, getting truly free means that you no longer have to prove anything to anyone. Being about living your own life. So if you want to keep changing, click the like button and check out the channel, turn on notifications, and leave a review below one last time. I'm in charge of my fortune because from now on, no one else does. Remember, true growth comes from within and the power to transform lies in your hands. Embrace the journey ahead with confidence and determination.